Hello everyone, Rimon here. So this video is titled My Confession because I haven't been telling you the full story of my situation, my past and present situation. So I grew up in a Bangladeshi Sunni Muslim household. I never used to take the faith seriously. I would pray, however, but not 5 times a day, just in the mosque with my dad. Um, in the early 2000s, I went to a special needs school because I was diagnosed with a learning disability when I was young. So I went to a special needs school and I had a favorite subject there and a favorite teacher. I'm not going to mention the favorite teacher's name, but they were Christians and the subject was RE. I was fascinated with religions and used to listen to the teacher, and they told me, well, they didn't tell me, they told the whole class that Muhammad plagiarized from the Bible. The doubts did creep in, but I never left the faith in school. 2001, when 9/11 happened, more doubts started to creep in. Doubts started to creep in. I started questioning my previous faith, which was Islam. But I never left the faith. When I left school and went to college, I met a friend who I'm not going to mention their name. They were Christians. It was only one person, by the way. I'm using they so that I don't reveal their gender, because I don't want them to get harmed. They were Christians at that time. I don't know about now, but he did used to share the gospel with me and stuff. He taught me a lot of stuff. After I left college back in like 2010, or was it 2012? I can't remember. Didn't get in contact with them again until 2016, when I came out of the mental hospital. I'm not going to say why I was there, but I was there in 2016. Now fast forward to 2020. Right. Okay. I forgot to tell you why I left Islam. Because I left Islam because of Muhammad and Aisha. The marriage between Muhammad and Aisha. When she was 6, he married her. He waited 3 years later to consummate the marriage, which to me doesn't seem like the best pattern of conduct for mankind. Because why would a perfect role model do that? That's why That's why the number one reasons why I left Islam. I had doubts before that, but the number one reason why I left Islam because of Muhammad and Aisha. I know it's emotional, but this is why I left Islam. Fast forward to 2020, I did start to accept Christ as my Lord and Savior. 5 years later, but I never believed in eternal conscious torment. I just believed in annihilationism. This was way before my mom died in 2021. In 2020 and 2021, I went to a mental hospital, not the same one that I went to in. So I went to two mental hospitals, right? One back in 2016 or 2015. The other back in 2020 and 2021. The 2020 and the 2021 were the same hospital that I got introduced to back in 2020. Right. Both times I went there because I had bipolar affective disorder. When I was in the hospital in 2020, at the beginning I was bruised, stomped on by a patient at the beginning of my stay. At the end of my stay, when I was released from the hospital, I got beaten and bloodied, so much so that the staff and the nurses there had to rush me to the optician. To get me new glasses. Also, when I came out of the hospital, I also came out of my mom's house in 2020. 1 year later, my mom died. But before that, I was in hospital because I lashed out on people. I went from Trinitarianism to oneness, went back to Trinitarianism. When I was in the hospital in 2021, I was a oneness or modalist, and I lashed out on people. And when I went out of the hospital, I then was convinced of Trinitarianism, so I went back to Trinitarian Christianity. Then when I joined TikTok, this is kind of hard for me to. Why I was in the hospital is because in 2021, because I lashed out on people and I have bipolar affective disorder, and I'm taking medicines for it. Some meds for it, yeah. When I came out of the hospital, I then um I then cooled down a bit. I was on Discord at that time, and I was also on TikTok, or I made a TikTok account, and somewhere around this year I left TikTok. Right. So I left Islam because of Muhammad and Aisha. I left Christianity because I couldn't fathom the idea of eternal torment and a loving God. Divorce for in case of adultery only. But other than that, you have to stay with your wife. Stay with your husband. This is so many things that I wanted to get out of me. Get out my confession. I've been on Reasons Answers channel, Reasons Answer Worship channel. I've been on Apostate Prophets channel. I've been on when they had live stream, Reasons Worship channel. I've spoken to David Wood when I was in the mental hospital, because at that time when I was in the mental hospital in 2020, it's because I wanted Christians to pray for my death, which at that time I was on Discord, and David said no Christian is going to pray for my death, which spoke on Skype, and now my current situation is that I am an agnostic in the sense that I don't know what to believe, but I am 100% certain there is a God. There's something above us. Okay. Because if there is no God, then this universe would be in chaos. Nature wouldn't be intelligent as it is. Okay. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks for listening, folks. This is my confession. I probably will do a part 2, but I'm not sure. I don't know yet.